Joe and Sam Sharp and Buster Manty. Oliver Allard was a wicked style, but here comes the Zippy Gan with the new comedy. Open up your eyes and not in your fizzy. Jamaican, where you come from? Why you so big, bold, brave and strong? Jamaican, where you come from? Why you so big, bold, brave and strong?
He's a comedy act, and he was at the Apollo Theatre and at Madison Square Garden, the smaller court. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zippy Gan.
So Carib, New York, what's up?
I take the egg white and I let it run down the cracker and batty and I leave it there. And would you believe me? The morning when the old master wake up and feel him batty and feel the slimy thing in my body, him jump up out of the bed and him say, Bertha, Bertha, come here, what is this, what is this? I said, Harry, I don't know what it is. I think you're gonna have to ask the friend that bring you home last night.
My name is Zippy Gan, and those who never know, now you know, because we are going to tell somebody. Introduce yourself, my dear lady.
This is Carly Murray Gordon, and I have the distinct pleasure of meeting Mr. Zippy tonight. Okay, he doesn't go by Mr. Zippy, but it is a pleasure to meet you.
Clear. Put Mr. aside, just Zippy.
Okay,
right?
King. No, just Zippy.
Right. Who is Zippy, you may ask?
Who is Zippy?
Gan? Yeah. Jamaican stand-up comic and also master of ceremonies.
What inspired you to get into comic? Since you say you're not a comedian, but you're into a comic. What inspired you?
Well, it's inborn, you know, from my childhood. I guess, you know, when I was born, you know, I was so ugly, I peer laughing me. Because I'm a firstborn, so I get to hear the jokes and all the, you know, commentary and things from all the others around me as they come forward. I think that was what imbued that in me. But it became a hobby of mine from I was a child, so it's like inborn.
So you've been doing comedy from a child till now. And so when was your, what was that journey like?
Well, I used to just be joke, get joke, and go to the rum bar them at Jamaica and stand up. Because you know you can't go in the rum bar as a child. So I have to stand up outside of the door and listen to the man them in there, the rum at them, because them get the most joke and the best joke, and you pick up joke from there. So that kind of start getting to me, and then I say, I have these jokes, I have to inspire other people with it, you know, and then people start asking you, because them know, say, you do it, give me a joke now, tell me a joke now. You know what I say? And so, you know, you grow up in that. And then I started doing it in church. And after a while, you do it in school, you know, the school have concert, the church have concert, then you go up and you do your thing. But mostly, in those days, Jamaica, it was mostly slapstick comedy. It wasn't really stand-up, you know, because there wasn't much stand-up.
I'm sorry, for those people who don't know what slapstick comedy is, what is that?
Basically, sketch comedy, you know, like Oliver and, you know, like what Oliver does. You know, you have sketches and you play them out with a punchline. Right, so that genre is the Jamaican style. Stand-up is really a United States in America style of comedy. You know, stand up with the mic alone, one-man show, and you tell jokes. So that wasn't in my time in Jamaica. Basically, there were a few, one or two, you know, Master I think Prince Edwards. But Prince Edward was the stand-up comedian that inspired me to want to do stand-up. Right? Because I saw him a couple of times in Jamaica. A lot of people don't even remember or know about him. But he was one of the first stand-up comedians in Jamaica. His name Prince Edwards. People can go look him up. Right? Because most of the other comedians were involved in, you know, like playing and pantomimes and things like that, you know. So I kind of took that from him, and he inspired me to want to do that genre. So when I transplanted to the United States, it was mostly stand-up comedian and stand-up comedy.
What was that transition like from Jamaica to America, and from from the comedy you knew to the stand-up? How did you transition to that? Was it an easy thing, or did you just incorporate it in what you usually do?
It wasn't really difficult. However, you had to transfer training and acquire different techniques, right? Because when I started out in high school here. You know, I did some college and I did it there, right? But then after a while, being in New York City, the entertainment capital of the world, they have stand-up, they have comedy clubs. So when you go to the comedy clubs, you know, I used to go there after classes, right? And I would do workout, you know, they have what they call open mic, right?
Yes.
And then, you know, you get a chance, you go up, you work out your thing, you practice the skills, and that's how I acquired the skill of stand-up. So the transfer from slapstick or sketch comedy to stand-up, you know, I worked out in most of the comedy clubs in New York. So that's how I started.
How were you received when you, as a Jamaican, you know, transplanting in America? How were you received by that?
Well, it takes some time because of the accent, right? Give you a little joke. So when I was in high school here, in an horticulture class, there was a teacher named Mr. Josim, right? So we were doing American studies, and he was asking about the different forms of government. And then he went into sexuality, then he started talking about the different types of gender, right? So people put up their hand and one say male, another one put up a man and say female. So I put up my hand and I say hermaphrodite, in my thickest Jamaican accent, right? And everybody turn and look at me. And the teacher look at me and then say, yeah, why? So I said, what do you mean, why? He said, why should we turn off the light? So, you know, say, from that point, me no participate in a class no more. You understand? Because this is how they got it. To them, that's what I said. So then I became, you know, aware of it. Professionally, I met a lot of the current professionals on some part. So some of those professional comedians, you see, like even Conan O'Brien, right? You know, I used to be in the clubs with him at one time, because he used to host at a pub named Pete's Pub down in the city. I remember I met Chris Rock first. He used to host at New York stand-up. Well, I met Caroline, who owns Caroline Comedy Club right now. I met her at New York Comedy Club. We'll talk about that club sometime. But I got involved in the original making or foundation or putting together of that club, Caroline's Comedy Club. Big up Caroline, big up Lynn. Yeah. So this is all right. And then there was a void, and I was the only Jamaican stand-up, and it's more cost productive to deal with a stand-up than to bring a whole crew to do this Jamaican style, Oliver style comedy thing. So, you know, I used to get called for some shows, like they would have reggae, you know, concerts and things. I would get called to perform. If I don't get a call to perform, I would get called to host and MC it, you know, because then I realize I can chat and I can talk, and sometimes it's impromptu. And true, they usually use comedians to do MCs because when there's void or what they call remnant time, you know, a comedian can fill in with you know, few jokes or him talk till you're ready again. After intermission, you talk till you know this artist or that artist is ready. So that's the usefulness of a comedian to host a show, you know, like a concert. So I was getting some of these jobs then. Back in the late 80s into the 90s now, I was what they call the warm-up act for Oliver's show. So every time Oliver would have a show in New York City, I would be the one that warm up the crowd. A lot of people will remember Zippy Gan. Yeah, you know. So I always big up Oliver. Yeah, and Oliver know that. I don't think he could ever deny because you know, people know it was a couple of years well. Always been the warm-up act for Oliver. Yeah.